So let's start with the Superstar Shakeout. That was a bad impression of Vince McMahon, and I think I kind of threw a little bit of Smeagol in there, maybe mixed with a little bit of Stitch. Someone just leave that right where it is. What's up, y'all? This is episode 8 of the Triple W podcast. I did say I was going to try and have this out a little bit earlier this week. Things happen, but it's out today. So, what's up, guys? I know you've seen the Superstar Shakeup that happened with Raw and Smackdown. And a lot of stuff has happened. A lot of superstars then got called up. A lot of superstars then basically went to Smackdown. Some went to Raw. So, we about to go ahead and get into that. Starting off with Raw. So, the Raw Shakeup included Jinder Mahal, who made his first appearance at the top of the show when he was talking to Kurt Angle and basically demanding that he be treated like a champion and, you know, put above everybody because he's better than everybody. And lo and behold, who comes out? Jeff Hardy, who ends up subsequently, I believe I used that word right, beating Jinder Mahal in a title match, which makes Jeff Hardy the new United States champion and Jinder Mahal back on Raw without a championship. And then after that, we have the Riot Squad made their debut on Raw, who basically beats down Sasha and Bayley after their match. Well, at the end of their match, they didn't finish it, but they ended up beating them up. So now it's going to extend the storyline between Sasha and Bayley. And basically, it just came in to make the mark or whatnot. And I guess they feel like since Paige went to SmackDown, they need Paige on Raw, so they brought Ruby Riott and the Riot Squad there. So now Absolution is kind of broken up, so now you have the Riot Squad to replace them. And I believe that was their plan in the beginning, but hey, you know, things happen. Next we have on there is Sami Zayn. Oh, nah, you know what? Yeah, because I have them all in order. Not in order, but I have them written down in a certain order, and I kind of skipped over one. But next we have is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. And they basically, like I said, they lost to Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, so they lost their jobs with SmackDown Live. So they tried to go and get their jobs last week with Kurt Angle, and he gave them an opportunity to face each other for a spot on the Raw roster. The match ended out in a double count out. I guess you can still call it that because they didn't get up on the count of 10. So neither one of them wins, so neither one of them got a contract. But then they made their way back onto Raw this week, and Kurt Angle told them that, like, what are they still doing here? They, you know, they didn't win their match. But then they told Kurt Angle that they got a email from Stephanie McMahon telling them that they both got a contract with Raw, and so now they are superstars on Raw. And so basically they ended up teaming up with the Miz and the Miz Taraj in a 5-man bout or whatnot. But we're gonna get to that a little bit later, or not 10-man bout, 10-man tag. But we'll get to that a little bit later. And so basically, the Miz is found out that he's on SmackDown, and Daniel Bryan gets sends out a tweet telling him that he wanted to punch him in the face. Now he's going to give him the chance. I'm just paraphrasing. And so he's really looking forward to Miz to get on SmackDown. So we was going to go and see what's going to happen the next night on SmackDown, which we're going to get into that a little bit later. But so we go back, Breezango, this is one I was supposed to get to before Zayn and Owens. They're now on Raw, and Tyler Breeze went against Sheamus and ends up winning over Sheamus, which is a big upset. So more than likely, well, it's kind of hard to say, you know, predictions because you don't know. Certain people, they get set up with certain things, but then they end up getting put over to, you know, SmackDown, and same with Raw. So it's like everything is in a disarray. So they end up, Breeze ends up getting the pin over Sheamus, which was a big upset. Next, we have Bobby Roode, who made his Raw debut at the end of the match. Well, during the last match, the main event, where it's the 10-man match, where it was supposed to be. He's the mystery opponent, which was told to Zayn, Owens, Miz Taraj, and Miz. And so it was basically Strowman, Lashley, Balor, Rude, and Rollins, and they ended up defeating the team of Miz, Axel, Dallas, Owens, and Zayn. When Miz tried to reach out for Bo Dallas, and Bo Dallas jumped off the ring, off the apron. And then also Axel jumped off too, so Miz was there by himself, and so they ended up winning. And Axel and Dallas, that just shows they turned on him. So because they're not following him to SmackDown, so it's like we don't have any allegiance to you. So now it's like, what are they gonna do with Dallas and Axel? What is there to do with them? The only reason they were really significant was because they were with, you know, The Miz, but now they're not. So it's going to be really, I don't know. It's really hard to say what's going to happen with them. They probably could put them in a, you know, a gimmick that can actually work for them, or they could just, you know, flounder around like they did before, and then some months down the line, they end up asking for their release, and they end up getting released. So yeah, that's what happened. So Dolph Ziggler is put on it went from SmackDown, now he's on Raw, and he didn't come along, as he said, to Titus Worldwide, and that's when Drew Galloway. I'm about to call him Drew Galloway because that's what he was called up in TNA or Impact Wrestling, however you want to look at it. But then Drew McIntyre comes up, literally, because he comes up from NXT. And he basically comes in the ring, and they start to beat down Titus Worldwide. And so they end up giving like they ended up giving the world a new look at their new finisher. And more than likely they're gonna be a tag team together, which is kind of good because Dolph Ziggler, it seemed like they didn't know what to do with him. It seemed like he wasn't going really nowhere. He was kind of like in the Cesaro type, you know, land where they'll push him, but then they'll knock him down. But then they'll push him again, but then they'll knock him down. And he just kind of seemed like he was there just to put people over, basically. Mo Walter. And so they come in and they end up doing the whole zigzag, and then I believe, who was it to? I think it was to Apollo. I could have been wrong, but Dolph Ziggler ended up doing the zigzag to Apollo. At the same time, Drew McIntyre did the big boot and basically put them down. So more than likely they're going to be a tag team, which I have no problem with. And it seems that Dolph is still doing his gimmick to where, or hopefully this is the last time we see it, where he walks out and then all you hear is the record scratching, and then his music starts. It's like, that's just, oh yeah, that was just reaching with that whole gimmick. That was just reaching. Especially the other way around, where he'll come out to his music and then they'll be like, and then he'll just walk down to the ring. I just hated that gimmick. That was just horrible. And then next we have Natalya is now on Raw, and she comes out and she basically goes, I think she went against Mandy Rose, ended up tapping her out, and then Sonya Deville came up in there, and then Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose ended up beating down Natalya, and look who comes out. Ronda Rousey comes out to Natalya's defense. And so at that point you see Sonya Deville being basically hyped up by Mandy Rose to go up in there and fight against Ronda Rousey, and Ronda Rousey looks at her, and so it wasn't no matchup. She got in the ring, they faced off with each other, and then Ronda Rousey started pummeling her with punches and ended up knocking her down, and just taking her out just as quickly as she got in the ring, just taking her out as, that quickly. So that really wasn't a real big hype, but it's weird because Absolution is still coming out to Paige's music. If they're going to keep them at Absolution, which I think they should change the name, either that they should split them up. Change the name if they're going to keep them together. Or if they're going to keep the name, they need to change the music either way. Whether they're going to keep the name or change it, they need to ditch the music because they don't need to. They're not with Paige no more. Paige is not with them no more. Paige is the general manager of SmackDown, so there's no reason for them to come out on her music. So yeah, and then the next one we have, well, actually the last one we got is Baron Corbin, which he didn't come out. He didn't premiere on Raw. He was just hyped through a vignette video just showing that he's coming to Raw. So more than likely tomorrow we're going to see Baron Corbin come out and be Baron Corbin, you know, whatever. But that's really all that happened on Raw as far as the shakeup. Then we have SmackDown with its shakeup. And so during the shakeup, we have The Miz, of course, like I stated. It was actually stated, I think it was like last week that he was coming to Smack. I don't know. But yeah, so Miz, he was drafted to SmackDown, but he didn't show up. He was like on, he had made a video, or he was doing something live where he was telling Daniel Bryan that he's not there, that he's in LA with his wife and child, but next week he will be there and everything else. So yeah, that was big. And then we have Jeff Hardy, who ends up coming to SmackDown with the U.S. title, bringing the U.S. title back. And he goes after Shelton Benjamin, who was talking stuff after he found out that Chad Gable was going to Raw, and so he told him that he didn't need Chad Gable, that Chad Gable needed him, and so now he can further his singles career, and that's when Jeff Hardy comes out, and Jeff Hardy ends up beating him in a match. We also find out Big Cass has come back. He been cleared for some weeks now from his injury. I thought, and probably a lot of people thought that he was going to come back at WrestleMania, but he ended up not coming back at WrestleMania. But now he's on SmackDown, and I believe that's where he was on Raw. Yeah, because he was with Enzo. So yeah, he's been shooken up to SmackDown, and his first appearance is that he confronted Daniel Bryan and calling him like, is this what the hype is about? Such a little man and all this stuff. So he's using his height as a positive for him, but like negative for Daniel Bryan, since Daniel Bryan is smaller compared to him. After that, we got a vignette from Sanity, that Sanity is coming. So Sanity has been called up from NXT to come to SmackDown. Samoa Joe made his debut on SmackDown, so now he is on SmackDown Live, and they're still going to continue the rivalry between him and Reigns going up into Backlash, which is kind of weird because it's like, you know, yeah, we have the Greatest Royal Rumble coming up this coming Friday, Avengers Day, as I like to call it, which for me is going to be Thursday, but I mean, movies come out Friday now, but you know, officially come out Friday. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're gonna ditch it after Backlash. I don't know. More than likely, Roman Reigns is gonna win from Brock Lesnar at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and then he's gonna face Samoa Joe on Backlash, but Samoa Joe is going to end up losing, and then that is going to be crushed. So that I don't really get too much credence to that. And then we find out that Asuka got shooken up to SmackDown Live as she comes out, and she helps Charlotte and Becky when Carmella comes out and has her Melibration, as she calls it, and she talks down to Charlotte and said that she beat Charlotte and everything else, and then Charlotte comes out, and then you have the Icons come out, which is Billie Kay and gosh damn it, I can't think of her name right now. Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. There we go, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce. And so they all come and beat down Charlotte, but then Becky comes out and helps out, and she ends up getting beat down, and then Asuka saves both of them. So now it's Asuka. She gets that new respect for Charlotte, and so now she's out there helping. And then next, the bar comes to SmackDown Live and all that stuff. Next, after that is Andre. Damn, I can't say his name. I'm not watching NXT, so forgive me. Andreas, I can't pronounce his name. Andreas Cianamis. You guys know who it is. And Zelina Vega come to SmackDown Live, as well as you have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose is on SmackDown Live. And it's kind of weird, like, you know, Paige goes to SmackDown Live as the GM, and now Absolution follows her, so I don't know where they're going to go with that storyline. Gallows and Anderson is on SmackDown Live, as well as Sin Cara, which I don't think anybody really cared about. And R-Truth is on SmackDown now, and he thinks that is Raw. So yeah, that was kind of like a little funny thing that he did in the back with Ty Dillinger and the New Day. I was about to say the Good Day. Huh. Anyway, so just to go over it, just to really go over it, we have Gable, who went to Raw. Then we have Shelton Benjamin has his heel turn. Mojo Rawley also went to Raw. Zack Snyder went to Raw as well. Ascension went to Raw. And Mike Canales, which I really didn't know if he was still employed. I thought he got fired. But I don't know. But yeah, he was still employed. Also, what else happened on SmackDown is also in my notes. We have Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles versus Rusev Day. When basically Rusev interrupted, I believe it was AJ Styles. What is in my notes? God dang it. I had so much happen this week. I'm barely remembering stuff. But, man, it's like, it's crazy. Like, I haven't seen, and one thing I want to point out, I haven't seen Daniel Bryan come out with any promos yet. Ever since, I mean, he has had it ever since that, but nothing really big besides, like, the one that he had when he was cleared. But he hasn't really had too much stuff in the bag or, anything like that. So, I don't know. I just want to see more of it. I mean, I know he did have that one. Like, I just got done talking about it, the one with Big Cass and stuff. But he hasn't really had too much. So, I don't know. Maybe he's going to have a little bit more. But I just kind of noticed that. But, yeah. And so, with that match, Bryan and Styles ends up beating, Rusev Day. Due to the fact that Big Cass and Nakamura came out and interfered, Nakamura came out and hit AJ Styles with the low blow on her apron, and Big Cass hit the big boot to Bryan, giving him, the disqualification. Like I said, they won. And then Nakamura came out after the basically coming up the ramp, and so he ends up getting stopped by Renee Young and asked the same question, like, why did you come out and interfere with AJ Styles? And he tells her, I no speak any English, and then walks off. And that ends off SmackDown with the shakeups and everything else. But let me go over the shakeups just to just basically to recap it. So on Raw now, we have Jinder Mahal, we have the Riot Squad, Breezango, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley. Well, not Bobby Lashley. Well, Bobby Lashley is on Raw. But Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Chad Gable, Mojo Rawley, Zack Snyder. Wow! Did I really just say that? Zack Ryder. Wow. I guess Zack Snyder just came right off the tongue. Zack Ryder. I was reading down these lists and I'm like, don't mess up, don't mess up. And the moment I'm thinking, don't mess up, I mess up. And then we have the Ascension and Mike Kanellis. On SmackDown Live, we have The Miz, Jeff Hardy, Big Cass, Sanity, Samoa Joe, Asuka, The Bar, Andreas. I don't know how to say his name. I don't know. Andreas Cianamis. I'm gonna memorize it. I'm gonna get it the next time I say his name on the next podcast. I'm gonna get it. And Zelina Vega. I just stepping over my tongue. Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose, Gallows and Anderson, Sin Cara, and R-Truth. That's telling me right there that I need to end this podcast because I'm just fucking up royally. But in any case, a couple other things I wanted to get to. That's besides Raw and SmackDown. Since I actually got through this pretty quick, I'm actually happy about this. So I'm gonna try and make this 30 minutes. I ain't got too much else to talk about. One of the other news items that dropped this week was that Rusev. It's this like give and take thing with Rusev. So Rusev was put on the docket to. Well, put on the list to fight the Undertaker. He was put in the match to fight the Undertaker. That's the word I'm just looking for. I was looking for a word and I couldn't find it. But he was put in the match with the Undertaker, and so it was like at first it was Rusev versus the Undertaker until this TMZ interview came out. How they just run up and catch people real quick, ask them questions and everything else. So he was basically just being a heel. And I didn't see anything wrong with it. He was being a heel. He was asked a question, and so he was in, Rusev Day mode. He was in wrestler mode. That, a person asked him a question, and he tells him that he's going to beat him. He's going to beat The Undertaker. He's old, he had his time. It's my time now. It's Rusev Day, And he basically was just going at it as like a heel. And I guess after that, the higher-ups at WWE didn't like that. And so they replaced him temporarily with Chris Jericho. They even had a promo, well, not a promo, but like a poster I seen, I think it was on Instagram, where Chris Jericho had replaced Rusev with fighting The Undertaker at the Greatest Royal Rumble. And it was just kind of odd. It was like, wouldn't you want your wrestlers to do that? And even outside, they're not about to sit there and play it up like, Undertaker, he's up there, he's been there for a long time. I think I can do it. I don't know. You want a person to hype the match. Especially with Rusev, he kind of like teeters the line of being a heel and face. I guess you could say he's a tweener. But it's like he in this bout, I guess you would say he would play the well-liked heel. Is the best way I can put it. He's playing a well-liked heel. And people are going to love The Undertaker and root for The Undertaker, but then they're going to root Rusev Day. They're going to root that, And so he was playing it off. He's supposed to be the heel in this situation. And I guess they just didn't like that. But then Lana went online, and I guess she tweeted out something that was somewhat of an apology. And I guess they were thinking about it in the offices, and so they ended up taking Chris Jericho out and putting Rusev back on. So now it's back to being Rusev versus The Undertaker in the casket match at the Greatest Royal Rumble, which was that was the best way to go. Chris Jericho, he is a big name, but right now what you need is stuff being sold. And if people everywhere you go, even if Rusev is not there, and they're screaming out Rusev Day, Rusev Day, and stuff like that. Because I remember last year going to Raw when they came to Chicago. Raw, I don't think, Rusev was on SmackDown. He wasn't even on Raw that night. But yet, all I heard before even show start was Rusev Day. So that's real popular. So it would be best for them to capitalize on that while they still can. Because who knows, this may last for just to the end of this year. And then people will forget about it, and they might have a new gimmick, and people are all on that. So it's best that they make as much money as they can off of Rusev Day before they can't anymore. But it's a lot to be said about Rusev and WWE and Lana and that whole situation. But I'm not gonna get into it right now. But this is the best decision that it can go with. And then the other thing I'm gonna talk about real quick is the whole John Cena and Nikki Bella thing. So it has came out that John Cena and Nikki Bella has called off the engagement, and they're both split up. That they're not together anymore. More than likely, John Cena has got cold feet because the wedding was right around the corner. I believe it was May 5th. And so it's right around the corner. Right around the corner. So a little bit over a year ago, they had the thing where they was on WrestleMania and he proposed to her, and there's a whole big thing. And so, like I said before, I think it was on the WrestleMania recap thing or the WrestleMania predictions. This is one of them. Where they had scrapped the Undertaker John Cena match last year that was supposed to happen for the John Cena Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice at WrestleMania, just so that they could have the John Cena proposal to Nikki Bella. And then more than likely they were going to have basically really publicize their marriage this year. But that didn't happen, and this didn't happen. So when you look at it in hindsight, last year was kind of a waste. You could have had a big hype for John Cena versus The Undertaker, and come to find out all this stuff to light, it was like, yeah. But when you look at stuff, whether you want to believe everything that happened on Total Bellas or Total Divas with John Cena and Nikki Bella, more than likely you think about it, a lot of that stuff is true, because a lot of that is public knowledge with him and his ex-wife and everything else. And just him not wanting to have the kid. That's totally believable. And it's like, you can see that was kind of doomed in the beginning. From you're being in a relationship with a person. And this just goes for anybody. When you're in a relationship with a person who don't have the same ideals as you, as far as being married and having kids, And they constantly tell you, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. I'm happy just the way things is. But you have a desire to want kids, and you have a desire to want to be married. So those things are going to clash. And a lot of times, even if a person compromises, said they're like, okay, you don't want to have kids, you don't want to be married, okay, I'm just happy with being with you. A lot of times that's still going to get to you, especially if you've been wanting that ever since you were a young person. Most likely for girls, because like a lot of girls, they think of being married at a young age, you know, having like the Prince Charming, having kids and everything else. And it's just a natural thing for women to want, you know. They're very emotional creatures, if that's the best word to use for that. But they're very emotional humans that's something that they will want, you know. I mean, a guy will want it, but in a different way. But, you know, it's kind of like, it's just crazy. Like, you kind of thought that this wasn't gonna last. I was surprised that, like, damn, you know, they getting married, like, you know, like that, you know, that's crazy. But John Cena, he's in a way to where, you know, his career is, I mean, it has already been up there, but now it's kind of like he's transitioning from wrestling to acting, and so now it's becoming something new, and I guess he don't want anything to stop his momentum, and so it's, you know, it looked doomed from the beginning with the contract, with her staying with him and him telling her constantly that he doesn't want to be, you know, he don't want to be married, he don't want to have kids. And then the whole thing with Dolph Ziggler and how he basically just told her that, like, if you feel like you want to be with him, go be with him. It's like, that's the one thing that I mean, it's understanding, but that's the one thing you don't want to hear from the person that you're in love with, is for them not to fight for you or get mad, but to say that if you feel like you want to leave, I'm not going to stop you. I'll be a fool too. It's like, no, you will be fool to not, you know, stop them. You know, this is the person that you love. You know, it's just, I don't know, like, just to be in a relationship with a person like that, it don't seem like it's going to be all peaches and cream when, you know, if you eventually get married. You know, you want somebody that's going to fight for you. But in any case, it's broken off. Nikki Bella doesn't wear her engagement ring anymore. She's been caught without it and everything else. And Brie Bella has came out and made a statement on her behalf, telling her that, you know, she's a very strong woman and that, you know, she's going to get over this and everything else. And that it will be publicized on Total Bellas this coming next season. Well, this coming season that's going to be there. So it's going to be everything leading up to this point. So everything is going to be publicized when that comes out. And I mean, there's really nothing else to say about it. I mean, if you care about it, then you're probably really bummed. If you didn't, then you probably just don't give two shits. But I just thought it was worth mentioning. But, you know, once I get on, you know, Nikki Bella, give me a call. Find you sexy and all that stuff. But in any case, that wraps up this edition of the Triple W podcast. So the Greatest Royal Rumble will be happening this coming Friday. I will be covering it. I will have two reviews basically not two reviews, two podcasts out this coming week. I will have one toward the beginning of this week. Probably I may drop it Wednesday. Yeah, I may drop it Wednesday, because I want to cover Raw and Smackdown on those, and then I want to get my predictions out on that episode, and then more than likely Saturday. I'm going to try for Saturday, maybe Friday night. I don't know. I doubt it, but Saturday I'm more than likely going to put out my results video, or, you know, my results podcast, or Triple W podcast. So yeah, I'm going to have episode 9 and episode 10 dropping this coming week. I do have plans to watch the Andre the Giant documentary that aired on HBO. So I will be reviewing that in one of the podcasts. I don't know if it's going to be in either one of the two, but those seem pretty stacked to talk about Raw and SmackDown, and then have my predictions, and then talk about what happened at the Greatest Royal Rumble. So I don't know. I probably might end up talking about it on that, or I probably might end up doing it on my Take One podcast. I don't know. Or I probably might do it as a movie review. Whatever the hell. But I will let you guys know as, you know, it comes to it. Follow me on social media and everything else. I will put everything out there on there. But yeah, And that's all I really gotta say. That wraps up this edition of the Triple W Podcast, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. So hey, before you guys leave this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button and give this video a like because it will really help me out. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And you see that little bell? That's the notification. Turn that on, that way you'll be notified for anything that drops on my channel. And if you look down in the description below, you will see all the links to my social media, so go ahead and follow me on those if you haven't already. As well as there are links to my other content that's on the channel, from movie reviews to podcasts to so much more. And I hope to see you guys here again next time. So thanks and peace out.